There are two juggernauts in the hero collector space in the mobile industry, and they are Raid Shadow Legends and Marvel Strike Force. I'm not going to be talking about Star Wars Galaxy Heroes because for me personally, after playing Lord of the Rings, the carbon copy, it would not make it on this list. Now, I do cover both of these games daily, so if you want great Raid Shadow Legends content, as we are on the Marvel Strike Force channel, hit the link in the description below to join, and if it's your first time player, you get a bunch of goodies for using my link. But right now, let's go make these two games compete against each other. Alright, let's start with what every gamer wants to know when they're playing a game long-term, especially a live service game, screen time. Now, both these games will take out an extraordinary amount of your time, so you might only have to pick one, which is why this video is probably going to be appealing to you. Now, for Marvel Strike Force, your time in-game is going to be variable. A casual player can play up to 30 minutes, hit all their markers, and bounce for the day. A hardcore player who's going to be doing raids, arena, crucible, every single time theory crafting, trying to win. Same with war. You're probably looking at 2.5 hours. And if you're leadership in Marvel Strike Force, you're looking at about 6 hours. And that does not include when they run these pop-up events like Sword Satellite or a Scourge event where you might be playing for 12 hours a day just because you could do that. And it's kind of fun. But that'll be your personal choice, right? You could casually go in there, sim everything, and then bounce. Now, for Raid Shadow Legends, it's definitely event-based, how much time you're going to put in. Again, casual player, you could probably put in about 30 minutes, but really more like 45 minutes just to hit all your quests and your daily objectives, and then bounce out. If you're hardcore and you're going to spend all your energy and keep up to date, and you're going to log in every single time to collect your, I believe it's called the Guardian Ring, the levels ups, you're probably looking at about 2 hours. And hardcore, especially when events run, you might be looking at 10 hours because there is no auto sim feature in Raid Shadow Legends. They have a multi-battle feature, but your device and the app needs to be running the entire time. So though you may be playing for 10 hours, you're definitely not engaged for 10 hours. Next would be agency. So Marvel Strike Force, I think, hands down has this category on lock. You can directly farm the characters you want to get. Now, not all characters are available on release. In fact, no characters available on release. They get farmable after about 4 months, and then they stay farmable. So every character that is like more than 4 months is farmable in-game right now in one way, shape, or form. Except for legendary characters, Apocalypse, you got to kind of build up your characters to get those. Same with like a new character like Mephisto. Now in Raid Shadow Legends, that is not the case. You cannot directly farm characters for the most part. There are character shards in certain stores. There's going to be fusion events you could work towards, but that's going to be an event-based unlock. For the most part, you're opening up these shards and you're hoping to hit the jackpot. You're hoping for the epic characters or legendary character that's going to be useful for whatever your current project is. Now, that sounds horrible, but there's an upside to it. In the theory crafting department. So for Marvel Strike Force, I got to give it a pretty low 6 out of 10, maybe even 5 out of 10, because there is cookie cutters everywhere. Unless you are a super hardcore player, probably 90% of your game is cookie cutter teams. Your raid teams, cookie cutter. Your arena, when a new character is released in the arena, there's about a 1 to 1.5 week period where people are feeling it out. And then for the next 3-4 months, the arena is a set meta. War, you're basically always using cookie cutter teams where you might slot in one character here, one character there, and then you're fighting them with cookie cutter teams where you're subbing in one character here, one character there, unless you're at the highest end, in which case war does become a lot more theory crafting, a lot more trickery, but that is for like the top, I don't know, 0.01% of players. So I did give it a little bit of a lower score there. For Raid Shadow Legends, the theory crafting is almost endless. So we talked about the bad RNG nature of unlocking characters in Shadow Legends. They make up for that with little to no power creep on their characters. So the longer you're playing, you're just naturally getting characters, whether you're getting them from promo codes, from RNG orb pulls, from fusion events, from whatever the case may be. That character that you got in the first year of Raid Shadow Legends is probably just as valuable to you now, 5 years later, because they just had their 5-year anniversary celebration. And I think that is such a crazy, beautiful thing. And it invites theory crafting like crazy. Now, they don't even have these cookie cutter teams. They've introduced these faction-like teams, but it's so lukewarm that it doesn't take away from your theory crafting. You're definitely better off putting an amazing character in there. Stats, the reason the power creep isn't really a thing is because you have RNG elements in where your stats come from. So you can get attack percent or flat attack, defense percent, flat defense, speed, accuracy, crit rating, those sort of things on your gear, your 9 pieces of gear total. Depending on what gear you put on what character, they're going to function in a different way. They'll go first. They'll set up your opponent to take a fall first. They'll go before your big nuker to put defense down or to give that character speed bar. There's way more theory crafting because of the random stat generation. That is both a blessing and a curse. As for newer players, it's definitely harder to get your mind wrapped around it at first. One thing I would say is there are multiple solutions in Raid Shadow Legends, whereas we just had a Sword Satellite in Marvel Strike Force. So let's look at Sword Satellite. The top floor had about 5 solutions, right? But it was always like one particular character fit that bill. So that would be like a 5 solutions to the one problem. In Raid Shadow Legends, you probably have more like 50 solutions to the one problem. It depends on what characters you pulled, who you put your investments in, and what you're trying to accomplish. So Raid Shadow Legends definitely takes it on the theory crafting side. Cost and free-to-play viability. Let's get this out of the way right away. The mobile industry is very expensive. If you want all the new characters, you will be spending a lot of money. So I'm more leaning towards what is possible free-to-play in these games. So for Marvel Strike Force, to get a new character, you're looking at about $100, but veteran players will always unlock every new character. This has to be the case in Marvel Strike Force, otherwise, because everything is very cookie cutter, the game would die if people didn't at least get the unlock for these characters, but they don't get them at the biggest level where they do become capable of performing very interesting traits. Now that doesn't include legendary characters, though I will say, ever since Morgan Le Fay, if you were a veteran player, that is a player who was playing a year before Morgan Le Fay, and if you haven't quit or taken a break, you should be able to unlock every single legendary character that happened since Morgan Le Fay. Alright, so for Raid Shadow Legends, you're looking at like $100 for 2 shard pulls. And the shard pulls have a 6% chance of pulling a legendary character, and there's no knowing if that legendary character will help you on your current task. Like, you want to do better on the clan boss right now? Well, your legendary character may have absolutely nothing to do with clan boss and be more about the Doom Tower, or more about arena, or whatever the case may be. So that's kind of tough. It's a tough bridge, right? But depending on who you pull, you might want to just shift your priorities. Your pricing in Raid Shadow Legends varies based on your spending. So I did spend quite a bit on Raid Shadow Legends, and I noticed, and then I looked it up, Raid Shadow Legends then offers you more expensive offers, but they also have more things in them, which I thought was interesting, but it just sort of promotes more and more and more spending. So, if you want to unlock every single new character, every single event character in Raid Shadow Legends, it will get extremely expensive. But free-to-play still have a lot of fun in Raid Shadow Legends. So I am now 100% free-to-play. I have so many tools to start working on the Sand Demon, to work on Nightmare campaigns, to work on the Doom Tower, to work on the Cursed City. And I got most of these free to play from RNG shard pulls. I just happened to pull a couple fun epic characters that through my community I learned were really good. I learned what they could do. And now I have like 3 years worth of content in which like, oh, I'm going to put this stuff into this character. Oh, now next is this character, next is that character. And I have like 30 characters that are like that right now. So I am set on content right now because the characters, they don't get power creep. So I do think there's a good free-to-play environment in Raid Shadow Legends. Content type. Okay, so Marvel Strike Force. Very seasonal and cyclical. What do I mean by that? There are war seasons where there is like a buffed up team. Like it used to be Rebirth, now it's New Warriors, the next one will be whatever the case may be. The war meta will get established fairly quickly. It might even only switch 1 or 2 teams during that season for the vast majority of players. Again, not at the highest end. And then that's just the case for 4 months. So it gets a little stale. Crucible, now they're doing something really interesting with Crucible right now where they're only having it last a month and a half. So it doesn't really have time to get stale. But we get the room rules. It lasts for a month and a half. Then we get the new room rules. But still, all the meta teams just find which room they're going to be meta in. Raids, we get a raid, it lasts about 6 months. We do the same thing daily. The arena, again, it gets determined about 12 days after the last arena character gets let go. We go from there. A new campaign gets released. It's auto play for most veteran players, so it's very cyclical and it can become pretty stale. But then you get some amazing pop-up content. You get like the Klin Tower. You get Sword Satellite. You get what is hopefully going to be Battle World, will be very interesting. So there's not a lack of fun in Marvel Strike Force. I don't want to give that impression. And then when a new season starts, it is very, very exciting. It's though heavy meta base. So you have your meta war teams, your meta crucible teams, your meta arena teams, your meta raid teams, and you go from there, right? So there is that aspect. Now for Raid Shadow Legends, I don't know. I've only been playing for about 2.5 months right now, but I haven't seen a game mode pop up that would rival Sword Satellite or Clean Tower. Everything's very static. Mind you, there's like 50 bosses, and they all kind of require something different, and they all have about 20 different difficulty levels. And then they do have the Doom Tower, which I guess is pretty equivalent. And you got to climb your way up, and you got to fight different bosses every 10th stage. And they have the Cursed City, which is this giant map, and you need to go through it. And then you have the Faction Wars, which in Marvel Strike Force would be the equivalent of every single tag has a campaign. So like Inhumans have a campaign, Web Warriors have a campaign, and you got to beat again 20 levels of that, and you can farm it whenever it's available. It's available in like a 7-week rotation kind of thing. So there's static content, but it's immense, insanely immense, and there's no meta. Once again, whatever best character you pull that does freezes, that does sheep, that does stun, they're going to work in where the best character who does the same thing would work, just to a slightly lesser degree. So there's no meta. It all depends on what you then put into that character, what kind of gear you put on that character, what kind of ascensions you do, your awakenings, that sort of thing. So the no meta really kind of blends in well with the immensity of the static content. I would say both of these games are equally fun to me as far as content goes, where I'm at right now. In-game events. Okay, I have a beef with Marvel Strike Force events. I do. They used to be 100% free-to-play completable if you put in a lot of work and you blitzed your butt off and you did all that kind of stuff. Then they switched it to, like, the final milestone wasn't completable. And then a few months passed and it's like, okay, the final 2 milestones were completable free-to-play. Now it's like the final 4 milestones aren't completable free-to-play. So you're still getting about 75% done if you're a sweaty tryhard, but then you're probably going to have to drop 20 or 50 bucks to get it done. There's always events running, and it like you can't do them all. Even if you hoarded, you literally couldn't 100% any of the events unless there is a core aspect to it. So you are basically pigeonholed into spending money to complete the events to get the best rewards at the bottom, or getting about 75%, which I will say there are very healthy rewards in there, and it still feels good to be taking part in those. For Raid Shadow Legends events, so Raid Shadow Legends did not drop the Horde meta. So you need to pick and choose which events you're going to partake in Raid. So right now there is a Sand Demon tournament going on. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to completely ignore it because I don't have a Sand Demon proper team built up. If I were to put all of my free-to-play resources into that Sand Demon thing for the 3 days that it ran for, I probably would get about 40% of the milestones, and there's just not enough in there to interest me for that. But if I'm picky, and there's soon going to be, I believe it's the Fire Knight boss event. If I put everything into that event, I can easily 100% complete it, and I'll get all those rewards, and I might even compete in the leaderboard for that event. So in Raid Shadow Legends, you pick and choose which events you want to really take part in, and you can go for it. Now, I talked earlier about these fusion events that they have for these amazing characters, like Armand's the Magnificent was the most recent one. I've been told from a good friend, a good free-to-play player, that he has never missed a fusion character since he started playing the game free-to-play, with the mindset of keeping a lot of his resources in order to get those fusions unlocked. He hasn't missed a single one. So I think that is really, really important and really good for the health of the game. Game-life balance. This one is tough. This is a tough one. If you're a Marvel Strike Force fan, you know exactly why this is tough. If I gave this a 0 out of 10, I definitely could, right? So you can't miss a day of Marvel Strike Force. You simply can't. If you miss a day, your alliance will lose Alliance War, they won't finish their raid, they won't get their donation, and you will eventually be kicked out of your alliance, so you will lose that camaraderie that you built with the 23 other people. The only reason it doesn't get a 0 out of 10 is because characters are now farmable like 4 to 6 months after being released. If you decide to take a 6-month break and you tell your alliance, like, hey guys, I'm just leaving, I might come back in 6 months, you come back, your game's not gonna be dead. You're definitely gonna be very far behind, but you will eventually unlock those characters probably within a month of coming back. The way that they run events and they have new characters coming into very farmable locations. Like there's never a new campaign which is so difficult to beat that you can't get to those characters to farm. So that's why, like, I didn't give it a 0. In fact, we could have given it a little bit better. But the fact that, like, you'd have to give up your alliance if you need to go on a week vacation, I can't. I just can't. Raid Shadow Legends, on the other hand, if I didn't log into Raid Shadow Legends for 3 days, nobody would really notice unless there was a clan versus clan. I could go on a cruise with my wife and my kids, and I could put the phone down and not worry about it. There's 30 people in the clan. They'll help out. Maybe I'm just not sweaty enough in the game, but I've definitely not seen people in my clan slacking and being like, hey, you get to it. Because we're still beating our clan bosses with like 10 people attacking. We're still beating the majority of clan bosses. We're still competing clan versus clan. If we don't win, we don't get the rings. Who cares? As long as they hit these sweet milestones. So I think that just the game life balance in Raid Shadow Legends blows Marvel Strike Force out of the water. Now, what I will say is when there's an event, like there was this dragon event to get Armand's the Magnificent unlocked, and I had to farm it, and I put it on my computer, because at least there's an app. You can put it on your computer. And I had the dragon fight running, I think, for 18 hours. Because I had like 1,200 energy. I was like, hey, go dragon fight, go. Now, I beat the event. I got Armand's. I'm super happy about it. I didn't actually have to play the game. But if I had to do that on my phone during the course of the day, like I couldn't minimize the game because then the fight doesn't happen in the background. That would be very unhealthy. But I don't think that's the majority of what people go through when they play Raid Shadow Legends. When you really learn it, apparently there's a lot of auto-clicker stuff going on too. Which I haven't looked into, but makes sense with how much auto-simming or auto-play that happens. I do think that Raid Shadow Legends takes the cake when it comes to the game life balance. All right, the new player experience. I started a new Marvel Strike Force account because I was told that this was a horrible, horrible experience for new players, and I wanted to see it. It was pretty good. So the new catch-in mechanics that they just implemented, right? They just gave us more blue gear, more purple gear, more blue ability materials, more purple ability materials, and selfishly, I want to take some credit in that because I've been screaming at them since I started it, and I think maybe they listened to me a little bit. Or also, I know that they also have a team that's working on it right now, so we should probably give a big shout out to the new lead of growth for Marvel Strike Force because he is doing a really good job with the new player experience. The new legendary system is amazing. The new horseman stuff is really good. The biggest downside right now, and here's the thing, this is all still in testing, the bad amount of experience you get on your account. So in Marvel Strike Force, you are barred from certain game modes if your account level isn't right. Now this is also true in Raid Shadow Legends, but you unlock everything in Raid Shadow Legends 2 months into the game, no matter what. If you're just farming and you're not losing any energy. In Marvel Strike Force, I'm 3 months into the game. I still haven't unlocked the midway campaign, let alone the level 75, which will be another month. The level 80 campaign, that'll be another month. So you're looking at 6 months before you have access to all the game modes, maybe even more. And then you have events that require you to take part in those game modes that are locked. So right now there is a huge problem with account experience. Now they were doing A/B testing. Some accounts got boosted. They were unlocking those modes a month into the game. If that was the case, I would actually say the new player experience for Marvel Strike Force is a 10 out of 10. And what I mean by that is a casual person who doesn't watch Twitch or YouTube could come in, they could super get a lot of experience, they could start facing some problems, and then they could look something up and learn. If they come in super engaged right off the bat, they will go so much further because they're going to have all their beginning resources put into the right spots. The way it is right now, people get bored and leave before that is the case. They don't have enough teams to take part in the game modes like War and Crucible because you just don't get enough resources to build them up to a usable level that is more usable than the basic AI they put in there. So that becomes a little problematic. So if they get rid of the bad account experience and they increase people's potential to build up teams to like a mid-game level, the new player experience for Marvel Strike Force, it might be the best mobile game in the mobile game industry if they did that for new players. But then they'd have to market it, and I don't think they want to spend marketing money. Raid Shadows, on the other hand, has no problem spending marketing money. So I started Raid Shadow Legends cold turkey because I started a partnership with them. Again, if you're new to Raid Shadow Legends, download using the link in the comment section or the description, or the QR code that is now in the middle of the screen. You get a bunch of goodies, and this is what I mean. Raid Shadow Legends is not afraid to just give out legendary characters. So we talked about the agency of it all. It is hard or difficult to pull legendary characters. Well, in Raid Shadow Legends, I've been playing for 2 months. I think every second week, I've gotten a inbox message that says, hey, go to your Amazon Prime store, show that you're a member of Prime, get this free epic character. Or, hey, log in for 7 days between, I think it was like between January and March 5th, and you got a free legendary Dungeons and Dragon inspired character, Wrath, who's carried me super far. I know they did Ronda Rousey for free. I know they did an orc that looks like Thrall for free. I know they did Sun Wukong for free. So when you're going to start Raid Shadow Legends, you gotta follow the promo codes. You want to start the game when a legendary character is in the promos. You want to use the promo codes that are already part of the game, whether it be mine, whether it be Ninja had a free character. Thank you, Daddy Rorix, in the Twitch chat. Deacon, who is an amazing speed-based character, is available from a promo code. All you got to type in is, I believe, is super power, all capitals. You could check on a bunch of different websites if I'm wrong there. Xena Warrior Princess was a promo character that people got. So there are definitely avenues in which they just give you characters. Like, here, take this character and now go beat the hell out of that dragon. Or take this character, go beat the hell out of that faction lord. Go beat up the Doom Tower. And that's definitely an amazing new player experience, right? Following the socials, there's like a promo code every week, whether it be for resources, for a character, the login calendars for these amazing characters. I think Raid Shadow Legends definitely has a lot more excitement in that. Because the meta in Marvel Strike Force moves fast. But characters in Raid Shadow Legends are eternal, it seems. So when you get a great character from a promo, you don't have to worry that it might take you a month and a half to build that character up. Because you know that character is still going to be amazing 3 years from now. Alright guys, that's going to be it. I'm sorry this one took a little bit longer to do than I thought it would. 23 minutes in. Are you still here? That's crazy. Final verdict. Marvel Strike Force or Raid Shadow Legends? Well, we talked about the scream time, which is kind of a big deal, right? This is kind of a big commitment for both. And what would I say? Be healthy. Be casual in both of them. Play casually in Marvel Strike Force. Hit your Crucible super fast. Hit your War super fast. Don't overthink it. Have fun with it. Lean into the cookie cutters. Lean into your content creators like Dorky Dad or Mobile Gamer or Jutsi or whoever the case may be. Try their hybrid teams out on what they're using it on. And don't overthink it. Just play the game. Same with Raid Shadow Legends. Get in there, mix it up, play it, fight a dragon, push as far as you can into the dragon, just play the game and have fun. That's what games are supposed to be. If you're spending 10 or 6 hours staring at your phone, that's not the game for you. All right? If you need to be able to sim it or to put it on autoplay and walk away. Autoplay and walk away. Both these games are super fun. I hope to play both with you. Obviously, you're on the Marvel Strike Force channel right now. Hit subscribe if you're not already. And if you want to join me in Raid Shadow Legends, go down, hit the subscribe button there. Download the game, get a bunch of free stuff, including the epic character Tyrell, and I can't wait to play both of these great games with you. Have yourselves a great day. Bye for now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.